All right, we are live. Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching. John and Ellie of Georgia Beer Reviews back at you again for another Stout Sunday. And with me is Michael Komaroff yet again. Thanks for joining me, Michael.
Always great to be here.
So let's see if I can pull up the chat here. All right, here we go. So, what beer do you have today, Michael?
Okay, I have from the Baltica Brew Collection from St. Petersburg, Russia, their Russian Imperial Stout, which is a 14.88 fluid ounce, 10% Russian Imperial Stout. And like you have, I've tried some of their lighter beers, but I've never tried anything dark, and I've never tried anything from their Baltica Brew Collection, which must be, you know, like an upscale, more advanced beer than some of the other ones they have. But I'm looking forward to trying it.
All right. And what I'm drinking this morning is the Southern Tier Warlock. It is an Imperial Stout brewed with pumpkin and pumpkin pie spice. And I was telling you, it's 8.6% alcohol. And this is from their 2017 seasonal collection. So this one has been cellared in the fridge at the liquor store.
That's always good.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give mine a pour.
Me too. We'll see what it looks like in the glass, as they say.
I have never had a stout like this. This should be pretty interesting. Basically a dark version of the pumpkin, a stout version of that. It's got all the same spices in there. And, of course, the pumpkin. So, nice pour.
Mine looks good. Mine looks good in the glass with a mocha head, maybe a one-finger mocha head.
Yeah, they actually, both of our beers
they look similar.
Pretty similar, actually. Mine is actually very dark brown. When I hold it up to the light, there's some nice brown notes around the edge of the glass.
Mine is the same. It's not totally opaque. You can see light, but it's mostly opaque. What kind of notes are you getting from yours?
Oh, wow. It smells really good. You're getting the roasted barley malt notes that you would expect to get with the stout. A little bit of chocolate, and then you're getting those pumpkin pie spices. And with the Southern Tier pumpkin, Michael, if you remember, that one had like a very distinct graham cracker type note. I'm smelling graham crackers on the aroma.
Well, that's good.
And it smells really sweet. It smells like it's going to be really good. So. And, of course, I'm not picking up on any of the alcohol on the aroma, the 8.6. You know, that's almost a low alcohol beer now for an Imperial Stout. You see all these 13, 14, 17% beers.
No. All right, let me see what the nose gives me. I'm getting that also roasty kind of smell in mine, kind of like a little bit of char, a little bit of like a smoky kind of sense in mine as well. Dark chocolate. Very inviting nose on this beer, I have to say. And as I'm looking at the head, you're getting a lot of head retention, and again, I don't have very much experience drinking Russian Imperial Stouts made in Russia, so for me this is kind of like the first time I think I've ever had one. But it looks like it looks like a craft beer, you know, that you're getting some of the look of it anyway, and the smell following the characteristics that you get in a Russian Imperial Stout.
Right. It looks creamy from my point of view. Yeah,
it is, and yours looks like it has a creamy head as well.
Yeah. Well, my head's actually died down now, but it did have a nice creamy beige head on it when I first poured it. So,
are you ready to go for it?
Let's do it. Cheers. Michael.
Wow, mine is really good.
Yeah, same here.
I'm pleasantly surprised. I really am.
I am so happy. This one is definitely living up to the hype for me. Or I was anticipating it for the last few days, and I just realized I got the extra bonus that it's it's been semi-cellared. But man, this is good. I guess I'll go ahead and describe it to you real quick.
Okay.
It's got a really nice, very darkly roasted barley malt note. Not burnt, but like dark toast. Um, and then it's got some chocolate. It's got that pumpkin pie spice, which really complements the stout qualities, and that specifically that graham cracker crust note is really prevalent in this one. And the graham cracker with the chocolate notes from the roasted barley malt really go well together. It is sweet. It may be even sweeter now than if I was to drink this fresh, because if there were any hops in here, they probably have faded somewhat. So it's even more malty now.
Is it boozy?
What's that?
Is it boozy? I mean, it's 8.6.
No, it's not boozy at all. It is slightly warming as it goes down, though, so you're drinking alcohol, but there's no alcohol on the taste at all.
That's good.
And the body is relatively light for this style. I mean, you could drink this pretty quickly, I think. It's a great sipper, obviously, because it's so full of flavor, but this goes down really smoothly. So my first thoughts are that this is a definite winner, and I'm going to enjoy sipping on this a little bit more. So why don't you go ahead and describe yours for us, Michael?
Mine, similar to yours, the taste follows the nose. I'm getting char. I'm getting a little bit of smoke. I'm getting the roasty notes that I think you'd get in a Russian Imperial Stout. It's very well balanced, and there's a certain complexity to it, which, I mean, I don't want to pick on Russian beers, but in the past, some of the ones I've had have not been complex from their basic collection. They've been okay, but nothing to write home about. This one is excellent. I mean, really good.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of the Baltica beers, just from their standard line. I was telling you earlier, the 6, the 7, the 8. The number 9 is the highest alcohol one that I've had. That's an 8%, pretty much a high gravity malt liquor. It's just like a Russian version of a malt liquor, and I've actually enjoyed all of their beers. This one from that special lineup, the I still can't remember the name of it, but it sounds like something I would like to try. And then I'm sure, I don't know if you looked up any of the other beers in that collection, but
no, as a matter of fact, if they have a website, I wasn't able to find it, but it's possible that the people who import it might have a website. It's imported by somebody, obviously. I was looking on the side of it, but it comes from St. Petersburg, Russia. And it's interesting, too, on the side of the bottle, the brewer is Yuri Katunin. I mean, we don't know him from anywhere, but he's the brewer. He has a little picture of him on the side. But in the little chart, it has 5 little like marks, demarcations, and under sweetness, it only has 1 sweetness bar out of 5. And I will agree that one thing that's interesting about this, I would have expected a Russian Imperial Stout would be sweeter than this, and it is not sweet, which I'm kind of surprised. And that's I'm saying that in a good way, not a bad way. The fact that it's not sweet, I think, is a good thing. The middle thing says bitterness, and it has 5. Now, by IPA standards, it is not bitter, and yet the hops are here, and there is a certain amount of hop bitterness in this beer, but it's balanced well enough between the malts and the hops that the bitterness is not prevalent, even though they're giving it 5 bitterness lines in the side and 5 color. Obviously, it's pretty much as dark as you could get in a beer like this. So I'm saying the bitterness is good. I wouldn't give it 5, though. This is not, in the IBU range of some of these beers that are, you see some of these stouts that are 60 and 70. This might be 50, though, or maybe a little bit more IBUs. To me, this is an excellent beer, and one of the best parts is it's really balanced.
Yeah. Mine is also very balanced. You know, between the sweetness and the roasty, toasty notes, and then you know that the pumpkin pie spices, they're in there, but they're not too overpowering. So you're kind of getting the best of everything without one thing in particular being too overpowering. It's very well balanced. I'm really enjoying it. I'd like to try the 2018 version if I can find it. See if I can tell a difference between the two.
Now, I wonder if that's a regular thing that they brew every year. Maybe they do, this Warlock. I know they brew the other.
I want to say they do. Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's available somewhere.
But very interesting beer. We've got a couple people watching. Jeff Knapp says, happy Stout Sunday, guys. Happy Stout Sunday again to you, Jeff. Thanks for tuning in. And Crystal Jims is watching. She says, cheers, fellas. Cheers to you, Crystal. We appreciate you watching. All right. So
I was telling you yesterday, I really enjoyed your Q&A that you had on yesterday on YouTube, where we were able to watch you live, which was kind of cool. And Rajay even was in kind of giving you some questions, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, Rajay was asking a lot of questions. I was really surprised with the turnout. I did it, you know, because I had a couple of comments and viewers wanted me to do a video like that. So I just did it. I didn't really, you know, advertise it beforehand. I just kind of picked a time and just went live. And I was really surprised at the turnout. I was very happy that a lot of good people came in the chat and were asking some really thought-provoking beer questions.
Gabriel
cool.
was there too, one of our regulars. He was on with you as well.
Yeah, Gabriel was on. Yeah, a lot of Eric kind of tuned in late and asked a couple questions. So
I thought it was really good. Maybe you should do more of those in the future, because I thought it was very interesting. And maybe you'd get different group of people, because it's funny when you come on with those live things. I happened to be on the computer at the time, and when you came on, I said, I'll see what's going on. I didn't know what was going on. I found it to be very interesting.
Oh, well, thank you. I had a good time doing it. So Craig Swenson is also tuning in, says hello. Hey, Craig, always good to have you in the chat. We are enjoying our stouts, Craig. I'm drinking the Southern Tier Warlock Imperial Stout, 8.6% with pumpkin and pumpkin pie spice added. And Michael's got his Baltica Russian Imperial Stout. What's the ABV on that again?
It's 10.
10. All
from
right.
St. Petersburg, Russia.
Nice.
I don't know how available this would be for you. In other words, you may just have the basic Baltica, the ones. I'm not sure. I hope you can get this. I think you.
I haven't seen any of those beers. I've just seen the standard Baltica lineup, but it doesn't mean I can't get it. I'd have to look for it, ask around. It's very possible, but I haven't seen it though.
Maybe when you're on your trips, when you get closer to the greater Atlanta area, when you're actually inside some of those places that have more beers, maybe they would have it.
Yeah, there's a great package store, big liquor outlet store that I go to in Fairburn. It's kind of in between Peachtree City and Atlanta, and it's called World of Beverage, and that's where I got this. They have a lot of interesting products that you can't really find anywhere else. So if there's any place that I could find it, it would probably be at that World of Beverage, which is like a Walmart, but it's just full of beer, liquor, and wine.
I was kicking around, instead of doing this, doing that other one that I found, that can of the Great Divide Yeti that I found in the food co-op. But I ultimately decided I'm better off drinking the 14.88, because with the 12-ounce can, it's easier for me to manage it if I decide to do it in a small tasting with this. Like if I do something with Doug, Giant Space Monkey, it's easier to split it with two people than to split something like this. And you're only saying it's a couple of ounces more, but when you're doing multiple beers, a couple of ounces of these 10%ers and more, they do catch up on you if you do a large amount of them.
Right.
And I think that one was 9.5%, the Yeti. So that was in the same area in terms of the ABV as this.
Now the Yeti, I can actually get that. I could buy a 4-pack for like $13. They have the cans in the 4-packs. So I might have to check that out. I haven't had it.
Well, I told you that was, I only was able to find one. It was on the shelf with the cans in the carbon. It was $1.76 for a 12-ounce can, which is a steal. I would have bought,
Oh yeah, well,
I would have bought a whole bunch more of them if they were there. They just weren't there. So I bought that.
considering the 4-packs here are $13, I would say, yeah, you got an incredible deal.
What happens in the co-op a lot, if you end up with a loose can, they'll mark the price down just to get rid of it because it doesn't have a spot to sit. So it's in the can thing, and they don't let you know it's there. You have to just see that it's out of place. And when you do, I check it. There's a, UPC code on it. You go to a thing to check the price. This one actually had the price on it. Sometimes they're pre-done, sometimes they're not. You have to go with the UPC code on the side of the bottle of a can and check it on the machine and see what it is. But sometimes you get some really good deals, and that even on something like this, it's not like they're losing money. They're just not making as much because everything, all the beer in the co-op is marked up 21%.
Wow.
That pays for their staff, the people who run the co-op. As this is warming, John, it's even getting better. I mean, this is a find. I may have to get more. This was given to me, by the way. This is a gift from one of my friends, one of my regular reviewing thing. What he does is he brings beer over, and if we don't do it in the beer tasting, he says just put it in your cellar and use it as you want, which is really nice. But again, I guess he feels since I'm the basic fail-safe position in the actual tasting the first Thursday of the month where I'll supply the beer, he figures this way he's backing me up. And it's a good deal because he's the one who brought the Lithuanian ones. He brought 3 of the Lithuanian ones and this, and a couple of lagers, those big 16-ounce lagers that you sometimes get, Bitburger. They're like German lagers that come in 16.9-ounce cans.
Right.
They're lower priced, but they're quality, pilsners, and they're good. But this is a find, and I've never seen anything else in this Baltica brew collection. I wasn't even aware. I guess I was aware of this one because the same place where I get my Lithuanian beers probably has this. But maybe I was a little bit afraid because there are other beers, like I say, I found them to be average, maybe a little bit better, but you're not seeking them out per se. Where this one, I would seek this one out. That's how good it is. Right.
Well, yeah. You want to go ahead and give a rating for that one since we've been sipping on it for a while?
I'm gonna give it a solid 96. And the only things that I guess I can pick on in this, it's not as thick. In other words, you would expect the Russian Imperial Stout to be thick. This is like more medium bodied, but that's a minor criticism when the taste and the balance and the complexity is so strong. And it's a little bit acidic. It has kind of an acidic note as well. But those are my only 2 criticisms, that it's not thick and it's a little bit on the acidic side. But otherwise, it's almost the perfect beer.
Right. Yeah, I would definitely love to try that. I'll have to keep my eyes peeled for it. I'm going to go 1 point higher. I'm going to 97 out of 100 for the Warlock. I have been so impressed with the Southern Tier beers that I've had, particularly the high alcohol stuff that I've had from them, because the alcohol is always well matched. There's so much, great complex flavor. All of the beers that I've had from them as well are unique. Like this one, I mean, a pumpkin pie spiced stout. That's just something new and very different from all the other beers other stouts that I've had. It's just an excellent beer. So I would highly recommend it to anybody out there. If you can find Southern Tier beers in your area, go check out the Pumpkin, the Warlock. I've had a Concord Grape Goza that they make. All of the beers that I've had have been just outstanding. And I really just couldn't recommend them more.
It's interesting that Southern Tier, which is in Lakewood, New York, which is in the western part of the state, I think near Buffalo, seems to have terrific national distribution in that whatever states that it does send its beer to, you seem to get their full line. You get a lot of their different beers, which is a good thing. And in New York City, I can get most of their line anytime I want. The co-op sometimes has their beers, but
I wish we, and speaking of, since this is a stout Sunday, I get, we might have to start doing this every Sunday, just have Stout Sunday every Sunday.
Through the whole winter season when stouts are popular.
Right. But since we're talking about stouts, we were talking about this off air. Do you still have that can of Evil Twin handy?
Are your viewers still on?
Oh yeah, we've got Craig Swenson watching. Tyler Mansell just tuned in. He's watching.
Okay, so this is Evil Twin collaboration with Larveg, and it's called Big Ass Money Stout, and this one is 17.2%, and it's brewed with frozen pizza, which doesn't sound appetizing in itself, but I couldn't taste the pizza in it. So I mean, it's an astoundingly big stout, as a lot of the other Evil Twin ones are. But it seems like their best beers, believe it or not, are the ones that they collaborate with other brewers. Because if you remember from that Stout Fest I went to, that Bible Belt was a collaboration with Prairie, and that one was not as high, but I think that was like 14 something, I think. And it was also an amazing beer too. But unfortunately for you, John, that would not be available in the state of Georgia. And
Right.
And if you think about it, why can you send like something to the legislature and ask them what's the big deal with having higher alcohol beers? Most other states do. Alabama's on the same page with Georgia in that regard too. So it's not like nobody else does it.
Right. I lived in Alabama for all those years and then moved to Georgia. I'm in, two states that for whatever reason are very very strict with the alcohol laws. Sunday as well. I don't know what the law. I'm sure 24/7 up in New York you could buy alcohol, but Sunday we can't buy any alcohol until 12:30.
It's funny, on Sunday morning you can't buy alcohol from like 8:30 to 10, something like that. There's like or an hour and a half or 2 hours early in the morning that you can't buy alcohol from the old law that they used to have, and that's the only thing that still persists. I think there probably are places in the state which I think that is a state law that you can buy beers Sunday morning for a very short period of time, because even in the food co-op there's a sign that says you can collect it, but you can't physically buy it until a certain time.
And it's strange in Georgia. They actually just passed a law last year, and it's like this big thing. Or actually, I think it was earlier this year. And on Sunday, you can't purchase alcohol from any stores before 12:30. But if you go to a restaurant or a bar, you can start drinking at 11 o'clock now.
Okay, but in the old days you had to wait till 12:30 before they passed
right.
that
It was
law.
the same as when you could buy it in the store. But now, if you go out and you want to drink a little earlier, like if there's a early game or something like that, and you don't have any, you didn't stock up, you don't have any beer, and you want to drink, you could go out to your local bar, and at 11 o'clock you can start drinking.
And some of those bars have those kind of like brunch specials sometimes in the morning, where you go and there's like a package deal where you get like I don't know, in your county, I guess you couldn't get a Bloody Mary because you can get alcohol in restaurants though.
Oh yeah. You can buy liquor at bars, restaurants in Noonan in Coweta County, but there are no liquor stores.
You can't have any to take home.
No,
in other words,
gotta go to Peachtree City to buy my liquor.
You have to go to the next county to buy it. Well, that's another place, and we've discussed this too. Coweta County is losing all that revenue because I'm sure there are people there who do drink hard alcohol, and they don't all drink it in bars. So I mean, whatever revenue they're losing, that's to Peachtree City's gain. So I mean,
it's really dumb, and it's almost like they're promoting drinking and driving, because you can't go buy liquor at a store and bring it home and drink it safely, but you can go out and drink at a bar and then drive home.
It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. I don't know who the brainchild is of the thinking. Tax revenue in this day and age is very important, though, for the survival of your county. So it would just make sense to. But again, people are the way they are. There are dry counties in Tennessee, for one state that I know of, where there's no hard alcohol even in restaurants. They just don't have any. It's like, right. And I know Jack Daniels, when my wife went on a tour in county, she said it was like you looked at it and there were no windows in the place where you're inside the place where they're giving you samples. as if the people don't know that you're drinking inside.
Right, because I think we were talking about this Lynchburg, Tennessee, where Jack Daniels is actually produced as a dry county,
a dry
area.
county. So they're able to produce it there, but they can't sell it in their own county. So you can taste it in the distillery. But my wife said there were no windows, so the locals have to. It's almost like if a local came, they can't see you consuming hard alcohol in their county, and the county makes no revenue off Jack Daniels, other than they get tax revenue, I guess, for whatever they are able to tax them. But my wife is a big fan of Jack Daniels, and she said it was a really wonderful thing. She got to try their number 7. They had a whole bunch of different stuff that they had that was not sold, that they didn't bottle. They just had that day, which they
now
had.
The number 7, that's that green label that Jay got a bottle when he was out in Texas, I think, and he did a review of it, but it's only available in like 2 or 3 states, I think. The number 7.
It's very limited distribution. Did Jay get to talk to you yet about his tour of Shiner? Because I know that he posted some pictures. I haven't spoken to him.
I haven't really talked to him since he's been back. I just made a comment on Facebook and just saw what he posted, but no, I haven't really spoken to him.
He was away with David Garlapede on this little Texas tour. He wanted to go into Mexico, but David Garlapede doesn't have a passport. Right. So
I saw he did a video where he's standing and looking into Mexico but he's not. Yeah,
they couldn't go in, and well, I'll tell you the truth. At this stage, with what's going on with the border and everything, I don't even think I'd want to go close to the border, because it's just like you're asked by. I mean, nothing's going to happen, but it's like I'd rather be further in the state where there's no problem and whatever. But look, I know Jay likes to push the envelope, and that's okay. He likes to travel, and it's fun. You have a road trip? Cool.
Right. All right, so let's read a few more comments here. Jeff Knapp says, Ohio had a 12% beer ABV limit up until a couple of years ago. Yeah, there's so many states that have really weird alcohol laws, and I don't think we'll ever understand why they do what they do, because like Michael said, it's ultimately they're just losing revenue to another county, another state. I mean, if you live in Ohio and you're close to the a bordering state and you want a higher ABV beer, you just drive over and get it there. So I mean, it's really stupid, and it doesn't make sense, especially when you could buy pure grain alcohol at a liquor store, which is 99% alcohol.
Right.
And Ronnie S. is also tuning in. He says, good morning, Mr. Nelly. Enjoy. Thank you, Ronnie. We certainly are enjoying our stouts, both excellent beers. And Jeff says, once the limit was lifted, the craft brewery started making bigger beers. And Brewdog from Scotland built a big brewery in Central Ohio. See, there you go.
Right.
Once these stupid laws are lifted, you have there's all this growth, more jobs come to the area, more production of great beers. So,
and if you do live near that Brewdog location, you should give them $50. They let you buy a stock for $50, and you get a lot of benefits from it. I would do it if it was closer to here. If they ever build a brewery in New York, I would give the $50, because they do. It's like a big benefit package. You get a free beer on your birthday. There's a whole bunch of stuff you get for this $50, and you own a piece of stock in Brewdog. And you remember from my trip in Europe, I made a couple of stops at their different locations, 2 different times in Florence, Italy, and 1 in Rome. And their beers are good. I like them. But the best part about it is they also had, like guest beers. And I was able to try some beers from Estonia, which were very good, next to Lithuania. And it's funny, in those 3, I think it's Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia are all countries that were caught in between Russia and Germany. So they've changed. Right now they're free countries, but during those early war years, they were in different hands of different countries. And obviously during the Cold War, they were Soviet countries. But they all have beer brewing traditions, which I didn't know about Lithuania. But, a couple of crazy brewskis between friends, and you start saying to yourself, we've discussed this, you and I, and most of the ones I've had have been good. There occasionally has been even one of the crazy brewskis, which wasn't good. But you can mishandle a beer. Obviously, whatever happens. we checked it. It was the same lot. So
I would,
I can't
yeah,
understand.
I would like to think that, we were talking about this a little bit. Because it's coming from Lithuania, my guess would be that all the beers are pretty good in Lithuania. And then as they're shipped to the United States, some of them, like you said, could be mishandled or whatever. But the more I think about it, the more I don't really think it's a quality control thing at the brewery. I think it's more of a transportation issue with some of the beer.
I think you're probably right, but as we've discussed, those also are in these really high alcohol. The Crazy Brewski was 15. I have another one that's 16. The before and after, which I tried, and you definitely would have liked it better than I did. It was I think I gave it a B- kind of rating, but to me it was too sweet. But it was malty, and you seem to really like a maltier brew. You like the malt to be the lead flavor, so I think you would have liked it more. It has an interesting label where the pictures, if you turn it over, you see two pictures of a woman, and it's, if you look at it, there's two sides to it. It's kind of very interesting.
Before you drink the beer, you're looking at an ugly old man, and then after you drink the beer, it's a beautiful young lady.
Right. So it's smart merchandising, and I don't know. You and I still haven't done our individual either same Risculio beer or just a general Lithuanian one where we're doing different ones. It really doesn't matter. But you're still on the hunt for one of those beers, either the Lobster Lovers or one of their other beers.
I know a place. I finally confirmed that there is a place in Atlanta where I can buy a couple of those beers. So I'll just have to suck it up and make the trip up there. It's right in the heart of Atlanta, so it's going to be like an hour and 20 minutes round trip because of all the crazy traffic right there in Atlanta. But at some point, I'm going to just do it, and we're going to do that examination.
Okay. Do you have any more trainings coming up? Because didn't you have a training last month where you got closer to that side where you were nearby?
I don't think, no, I'm pretty much done with all of that, but I still work in Atlanta, just not that far up. So one of these days when I get off work a little early, I'll just go further into Atlanta, get up that store and get the beer.
So maybe that could be something else we do on a future Sunday morning as well. It's funny. I have more trouble, I think, just saying to my wife, I'm going to go down and do a beer examination with John than I do if I just pre-set up with you and do it like this, because if she's sleeping, she can't be angry.
That's right.
I mean, she can't, because, she may be a little angry I'm drinking beer on Sunday morning, but that's a separate issue.
Tips and tricks for a long, healthy marriage by Michael Komaroff. That's how you do it.
I'm kind of excited about Wednesday when we're going to be doing Christmas style beers, even though right now, and it's weird, I've been looking to try to find I couldn't find that Bell's one that you had. I'd love to have tried it, but I made a mistake earlier in the month. The Co-op had a whole end cap at the bottom with all Christmas beers, and I should have bought them when they were there. I didn't know. That was before we decided we were having a Christmas tasting on, I think it's January 2nd. So I didn't buy any. And now what's happened is the Christmas beers are all gone, and now they're starting already to replace those beers with ones that they, like sale beers, ones they're trying to get rid of that were in the basement kind of thing. Right. Some of them I'm willing to buy. Others, I'm not willing to just buy any beer that they put out there. It has to be something I'm interested in, because otherwise I end up with too much beer. I can't. Right. And that's why I like being able to buy singles. I'm not forced to buy a 6-pack of everything, which works out to be well. We may be paying a little bit more sometimes because they're singles, but it does give you a chance to choose more different styles, which I do like. How much do you have left in your glass?
Well, this is a big bottle, so I poured the rest of it in there. So I've still got like a half glass left.
So yours was a bomber bottle, a 22-ouncer? Yeah,
this is 1 pint, 6 ounces, so 16, 17, 18, 19, 22. Yeah, 22 ounces.
You normally, in these European ones, you get 16.9. For some weird reason, this is 14.88, which I've never seen anything that's not 16.9. Everything, cans and bottles, always are a little more than a pint. But this one is like couple of an ounce and 0.12 less than a U.S. pint. But
yeah,
it's
that's a very strange amount.
Well, maybe it's a Russian thing, just that they have, they give you a little bit less, whatever. But this deserves the 96 I gave it. It's really good.
Absolutely. We'll read a few more comments and then we'll go off air. We'll wrap this up. So Ronnie S says, do you have a suggestion for someone not too familiar with stouts? That's a good question, Ronnie. I think a good first stout for anybody, something that's pretty light and easy drinking, would be just standard Guinness draft. Michael, what do you think?
I would recommend Sierra Nevada makes one called Sierra Nevada Stout, which I don't know. It's not readily available, but I think that if you get Sierra Nevada in your location, you should be able to find it. It's a good beginner stout. I would recommend that one. Guinness, of course, is world renowned and definitely a good stout. I wouldn't be starting on one like this, or stay away from the big ass money stout unless you're pretty experienced.
Right. Yeah, the ones we're drinking probably not good for a first time stout drinker, but once you get into stouts, if that's a style that you like, I think you're really gonna want to expand and start getting into some of these imperials and the barrel aged stuff. I mean, stouts are so they're so diverse. There's such a wide range of different character and different stouts, the way they're brewed, the barrel aged, the imperials. So if you like a standard stout, it's pretty exciting because there's a lot of different stouts that you can explore and try. And most of the ones that I've had have been at least good.
Right. And as we've discussed before, if you've been on the air, a couple of weeks ago, I was at this Stout Fest event. And again, that should not be for the lighter at heart either, because it was overwhelming. I'm happy I did it, as we've discussed before, but it was almost like there was so much there and you knew we weren't going to be able to drink all of it. It was almost reached the level where you said to yourself, I'm happy to be here, but it was like all encompassing, a combination of excitement almost. And, you knew that with the group of people we had there, we were going to get to taste whatever we did. And it was really fun, but it's hard to describe. It was just, this friend of mine, Sean, who invited me, told me, he said, you're going to be shocked at what, and when he told me, I didn't think anything of it, but when I got there, I understand what he meant,
right.
Stuff that I'd never seen, stuff that, weird differences. And I mean, it was astounding. It's about the only way I can put it. And as I've gone further away from it, I think I would do it again, but I would only do it again if I knew that it was local, where I wouldn't have to go through transportation problems. I wouldn't go to the part of Long Island where the main people who started it are, because then it involves the Long Island Railroad, which is it could be done. It's just it involves too much work in order to do it. But in New York City, I'll definitely do it again.
And let's see, Jeff Knapp made a comment, says Brewdog calls it equity for punks, Michael. He was talking about.
Right.
And one thing, too, I've had a couple Brewdog beers. They probably don't have the strongest beer anymore because people are always trying to one-up each other. But at one point, Brewdog made the strongest beer in the world. It was called Sink the Bismarck. So just an interesting little fact about them. I would like to try that beer. It was like 60-something% alcohol. But
can you get any Brewdog in Georgia, or you've never seen it?
Yeah, I've had the Brewdog, one of their IPAs I've had.
Punk? Is it called Punk? Something Punk IPA?
That's it. I've had the Punk IPA.
Okay, because they have a couple of IPAs. I have their Clockwork Tangerine, which is, you remember Clockwork Orange? So this is a tangerine flavored one, which I'm going to do this Thursday. This Thursday, by the way, is the first Thursday of the month, January 3rd. So I have my group coming. And as of right now, there are 9 people coming of a possible 12. One is flying back from Las Vegas, and she told me that jet lag might end her chances that she's coming. But at least she told me, so now I know not to expect her probably. And if she comes, I have enough beer for her, so I'm not worried about it. And Giant Space Monkey has not committed either, so we're not sure about him. And one more friend. But even with 9 people, that's a good group to do these things. And I'll make sure that I send a picture and a description whenever it's done, which is it's exciting.
Yeah, that sounds like if I'm ever up in New York, I'll hit you up. That sounds like something that would be right up my alley for sure.
It'd be a lot of fun. So do you want to wrap this up?
Yes, absolutely. So thank you everybody for tuning in to another successful edition of Stout Sunday with yours truly and Michael Komaroff. 97 out of 100 for the Warlock Imperial Stout from Southern Tier Brewing Company, and Michael's Baltica Russian Imperial Stout got a 96. So excellent stouts, guys, to start this Sunday morning. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate everybody watching. And until next time, everybody, cheers.